Hello everyone, welcome to another discussion and deck profile video about Mekk Knights. This is another video I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I think it's going to be really useful for the most casual players in our player base. If you're a competitive player, this video may not be for you, but if you want to stick around and just look around the discussion, especially toward the later part, you can skip the combos if you already know them. I think it's going to be a very instructional video, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So, without any further ado, the card we're going to be talking about is World Legacy Scars. It's a field spell for the World Legacy or the Mekk Knight archetype. It's a very powerful card with having an effect that's unlike anything else in the game, basically, aside from a couple of 2 or 3 other cards. And this is a very accessible version of those effects with an archetype that's really good around it. And I've had a lot of people, players asking me why I'm not playing this card. And when I started explaining to them the combos, they're like, okay, this is one card you can just add to your deck and you already have the full combo, basically. And I've been wanting to make this video to talk about why this card works or doesn't work, and why I personally do not play this card in my deck, and why you as a player might choose to play this card, and how can you best utilize it, especially in the upcoming metas where Mekk cannot compete against some of the stronger decks like Spite and Tearlament. This card could be the decision that allows you to break those decks. Anyways, I'm going to go to the basic combo here on how to set up World Legacy cards, and we're going to start with Girsu and Purple Nightfall. This is the most standard opening. It can be any Mekk Knight that's like Girsu plus Purple, Blue Sky, World Legacy, World Memory, one each of the World Legacies you're going to search through in the combo, which is Succession, Key, or Scars itself. And there's a lot of other variations, but those are the main ones we're going to be focusing around. I'm going to tell you the other variations in combos on the description if you want to look around. And they are going to be included in deck profile because they do raise the percentage of this combo resolving. But there's some consistent I'm not going to go right now, and this is the most basic where they diverge from. Anyways, for the combo we're going to start with normal summoning Girsu, and we're going to use the effect to send World Armor to the graveyard. After that we're going to use its effect. We're going to create tokens to your opponent's side of the field. Where we place the token is very important. You want to summon the next step underneath the token. Sometimes in Mekk Knight combos you want to avoid this, but for this particular combo you need to do this. So we're going to link these two off for a copy of Lib. We're then going to use Lib's effect. We're going to get to our field a copy of Succession. We're going to then activate Succession, targeting World Armor. Since we have a World Legacy in the graveyard, we can activate Succession. We're going to use World Armor's effect to get World Legacy Key to our hand. We're then going to summon Purple Nightfall. We're going to use Purple Nightfall's effect. We're going to banish it. We're going to add Blue Sky. We are then going to activate Blue Sky's effect, adding to ourselves any of the names that already are in rotation. This can be either Indigo or Red. We are then going to activate World Legacy Key, targeting the purple, adding it back to our hand. We're going to link these two off for a copy of Morningstar, and activating its effect, discarding the Mekk Knight purple because we already summoned it, so we can't summon it back. And we're going to add the final piece of the World Legacies. We're going to add Scars to our hand. We are then going to special summon Indigo to our field, link summoning these two off for a copy of Mekk Knight Spectrum Supreme. This is a very cool card. We're going to use its effect, going to send a key for cost, summon the last Mekk Knight from our deck, Mekk Knight Red Moon. Then we're going to link these two off for a copy of Abramax. From this point, we already have the combo set up. We can just activate Scars and banish 8 Mekk Knights from our graveyard, and we have the combo. However, this is the part where I think it's the biggest strength of this deck, because you're left with 2 materials on field. So you can just link these two offs for something like Verti Anaconda or whatever you want to summon, and you can play from there. Since this combo utilizes 2 cards in your hand to do it, you still have 3 cards left. I would recommend you going for something like Dragoon, because it allows you to protect your combo from resolving, and basically guarantees you game, since your opponent is going to have no cards in hand, no cards in extra deck, trying to play against Dragoon. That's very strong. You could play the branded package, which has a lot of synergy, because, for example, you could have searched World Legacy Secrets if you found any World Legacy in your opening hand, and then you could send to the graveyard another copy of Purple, and then you could summon it back. Or you could just send the DP package, because, well, you use 2 cards in hand, but you can then set everything. You can play on your turns and get the draw 2 because it's also a very recurable card. But basically this is the combo, and then you're gonna activate the effect to banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 different Mekk Knights from your graveyard. Yeah, this is the basic combo. There are variations in the description, like I said. Girsu plus Parallel Exceed is one I see a lot of people do not talk about. Girsu plus, I think, Foolish to dump to Strudel, or Girsu plus the Strudel is probably a route that also works. I haven't routed that yet, but it should be the same as the Garrus idea with Parallel Exceed and something like that. But yeah, those are variations that stem from the combo I just showed here. Anyways, right now I'm gonna take you guys through the discussion part of the video with the math and why I think this deck is or isn't a viable option. And I'll see you guys soon. So let's now discuss about the viability of such a deck. Right here we have a simple deck list of what Mekk Knight FTK combo or Mekk Knight War Lysis cards might be. And we have, of course, 3 Girsu, which is our main starter. We have 3 Small World, we have 3 Prosperity, and we have every card that goes around the combo basically maxed out, as long as with some hand traps, which are basically used as either Small World bridges and crossout designators. I want to illustrate my points using 2 websites. First is a Small World bridge illustrator made by Galantron. This website allows you to check in real time and to check which Small World bridges you need in your deck and what do they lead you. So right here, the ideal setup we want is exactly this. With this, we can see that any monster in our deck plus Small World leads us to Girsu. No matter what the monster is, even World Armor, which would, if we used it, would invalidate us to use the combo, we can still get to Girsu. And pretty much any other Mekk Knight can still get us to most other Mekk Knights. This is the ideal setup and is very good and allows us to have such a high probability of resolving the combo. So, you might be thinking right now, oh, this is great, this has an 80% chance of resolving, so if I go first 100% of my games, I should be one of the best players in the world with this deck, right? Well, there's a small fallacy in this, which is, you're considering only this chance. This is a chance without Prosperity and without some of the combos. Let's say we're just going to analyze this number and let's round it to 50%. If you go first with this basic setup, we're going to have a 50% chance of doing the combo, which is fairly bad considering how the game works, but it's okay. Now, let's say we're going against an opponent which also has a competitive deck. If you look at other channels like Hakuna Matata, which analyze YCS and other tournaments deck lists and how many hand traps they're running, for example, we're going to see that they run at minimum 6 hand traps. Their chance of opening 6 hand traps in a 40 card deck, I'm assuming they're playing 40 cards, is also 50%. So I am as much likely to open my combo, I'm as likely to open my combo as they are to open a hand trap to stop it. Which basically means this combo isn't good. If I can't have a very, very higher likelihood of opening this combo than they can have opening hand traps, or either being able to push to those hand traps, I know that I'm gonna lose a lot more going for this combo than if I were to go for something more resilient. And actually, this number is actually very much closer to 15, with most going secondless, and with a lot of competitive decks, especially post-siding, they board into 15 or more hand traps sometimes. And they have almost 100% chance of seeing hand traps. So we look at our 80% number, and it may be good, but this 80% number, when we draw these responses or we draw enough extenders, actually goes down a lot to close to 30 or even 25%. And this is very, very bad. This is not viable. For example, if we look back to my competitive deck lists, I'm looking around 80 or 85% chance of seeing one starter, but I'm looking at also like 60% chance of seeing 2 or more starters. And when we go to those probabilities, we start seeing that a deck like that, which does not have an FTK or does not have such a high impact combo, is actually a lot more viable than one that would have one of those. And the reason for that is that those combos, while they do not win the game, they allow you to play. And you don't want to play a coin toss in a game with so many math and so many different variations, because you're more likely to lose in those scenarios because of the unpredictability of your draws and your cards. So this invalidates this combo. This invalidates Mekk Knights. If you cannot have a higher percentage, if you cannot have a more resilient combo, if you cannot have a guarantee that playing this will win you the game, you're better off just playing a deck that will allow you to play more often than this will win you the game. If you had a deck that could allow you to play 80% of the time, and this deck could allow you to win, 50% of the time, and let's say you lose 20 or 35% of the time of the times you play, which would be around for a meta deck, a meta competitive deck, that's already way better than going for this FTK. So of course this can be fun, this can be a cool exercise. Playing this deck is exactly what caused my brain to flip a switch and start thinking about how to build competitive decks, because before I would think this is good. I would think going for such a deck list and going for such a play was actually something that was useful for my playing. But after I realized, after I tinkered around with maps, and after I saw more of how the competitive players build their deck, I realized that this is actually not that good. So still, I'm gonna leave this deck list down in the description along with some of the combos. Feel free to copy, to change them. If you find new combos and want to share them with me, I would much love that. I would like that very much, sorry. But yeah, in summary, I don't recommend you playing this deck. I don't recommend you playing World Legacy cards in the Mekk Knight deck list at all. If you want to go for high roll combos, go for Verte combos, or go for something else that's more of a backup plan, or something that you can rely on after you're being interrupted, or something you can realistically push through hand traps with. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say today. Thank you so much for watching. My next video is gonna be, one video is gonna be in Portuguese. They're gonna be both about how to prepare for a big tournament. I'm gonna have a rogue tournament I'm gonna participate in, which I'm doing a lot of prep for. I'm gonna talk about how you decide what decks to put on your side deck. This is also a very weird side deck. Don't think this is the norm. This is because of Crossed Out and Small World. But anyways, so I'm going to be talking about that. This is also going to be in Portuguese because we're going to have our nationals coming up. So I want to discuss a lot about that. Thanks for the 2 patrons. They are now supporting me. I remind that that's completely optional. You do not need to do this if you don't feel like it. I'm not going to have a lot of exclusive content there. None of my competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content is ever going to be locked away behind that. My music is going to be locked behind that. Some of the behind the scenes and some of the more advanced deck building, or some of the behind the scenes deck building that I do, might just be there, just so it isn't public for everyone to see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you liked the video. Let me know if you liked the new setup, if it improved. I saw some people complaining about that, so I hope it helped a bit. And again, thanks and have a good one.